Okay, that puts us live, streaming live now. And just a few housekeeping things. Tatiana will be joining us tonight. She's a little under the weather. So I'll be helping, as well as Diana will be doing, I think, the project list. Is that true, Diana? Yep. And then we also have a special guest who asked to join us a little bit later, Mike. And so we'll kind of add him into the agenda wherever you like, Andrew.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Why don't we just kick things off with Mike?
Yeah. You go ahead
Nothing
and
like getting to go first.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
How are you guys?
So, last minute addition to the agenda. Sorry, folks, to catch you off guard, but this one came our way around 5 o'clock today.
It did, yeah.
It did, and I apologize. We're moving pretty fast, trying to get ahead of some supply chain issues and some projects that are underway. So we started writing this about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and one of the steps that I didn't realize I needed to do is come before you. So I'm here. I got here as quick as I could. What is it? I finally got here. I got here as quick as I could. Um, as I understand it, I couldn't have gotten in earlier because y'all didn't have a meeting till now anyway. It's just the last minute for being here. And first, let me introduce myself. I'm Mike Wharton. I'm the Sustainability Office with Athens-Clarke County, and I appreciate you letting me take your time today. I'm bringing forward to you 2 agenda items that we're submitting in this budget cycle to the Mayor and Commission. One of them is called the Electric Vehicle Accelerator Program. It's where we're going to propose the purchase of full electric vehicles and chargers that go with it. This other project is the solar panels at Memorial Park. And the reason we're bringing the projects to you is supply chains are a real critical issue for electric vehicles. It's a real challenge right now. The supply chain is 18 to 24 months from the time we place the order to the time we take delivery. So if we don't go ahead and encumber the money now, we lose the opportunity. We have to wait. That just makes it that much longer before we get these vehicles that are part of trying to meet our goals with the mayor and commission. Transportation produces about 40% of the greenhouse gases in Athens. The rest of it comes from buildings and industry. So we really have the ability to impact our greenhouse emissions and our climate here in Athens as we transition our fleet toward full electric vehicles. So the other reason is because some of these projects, the Memorial Project is already underway for what it's doing. So we want to get in on the front end of that project so that our solar panels can be included in the design elements that they're moving forward with, and therefore hopefully prevent potential problems, as well as have some cost savings, we hope, as that process goes forward. Now, why are we bringing it before the Cultural Affairs Commission? Because both of these are electric or equipment purchases, because in the letter that was submitted as a recommendation to the mayor and commission, and my screen is not letting me share at the moment, so I'll keep talking. Sorry, you don't have visuals to go with it. In the letter that was sent to the mayor and commission, project number is SPLOST 2020, project number 11, which has to do with clean and renewable energy initiatives within Athens-Clarke County. Those are designed to go forward and try to accomplish the clean and renewable goals, which we're in the process of planning right now with our community advisory group, and in our association with the community. We're trying to bring that forward. We're still in the writing phase of that. As part of that, this group recommended that Project 11 be included in the arts allocation, the 1% art allocation. And it's understandable, nobody knows what those projects are yet. We aren't sure all the projects yet. That's still what we're working on. But what we are trying to do is, in order to get to the mayor and commission, we're trying to bring those projects forward, which are currently underway, so we don't miss the opportunity at this end just because we aren't ready with a full plan for this process. So that's why we're bringing these to you now for consideration, these equipment purchases. The ordinance does, the Cultural Affairs Public Art Ordinance does make an exception for equipment to be excluded. So that's why we're bringing it to you to ask that it be excluded. But let me give you a little bit more background on the 2 projects. So I'll start with the easy one, Memorial Park, putting solar there. Currently, they're doing renovations, which includes the roof. As part of that project, if we can go ahead and allocate solar to produce about 30 kilowatts of electricity on top of that roof in the non-shaded part, they can go ahead and complete the roof project and design it to fit into that project while they're moving forward right now. So this, they just have approved them, the mayor and commission just approved Memorial Park to move forward with the roof renovations. So we're trying to tap in and come in on the backside of that. Our community advisory group supported us accelerating the expenditure of Project 11 funds toward that end, because that will allow us to start meeting clean and renewable energy goals on an existing project, which is why we brought that to them as well. So the total amount of money on that project is approximately $90,000 to put in that solar system. So the art portion of that would amount to about $900. So that's what would be excluded if you so make that recommendation. The second project's called Accelerate the Fleet, or electric vehicle acceleration program. Sorry, I get T-Splost and this Splost sometimes mixed up. So that one's Accelerate the Fleet is T-Splost. This is electric vehicle acceleration. And this is a little bit more complex because the agenda item that you'll see go forward to the mayor and commission is a request to encumber approximately $1 million. However, the reason we're doing that is because in order to have money, in order to place orders on electric vehicles, you have to, being government procurement, you have to allocate the funding. When you allocate that funding, it ties that funding up for the period of time until the order is received. Unfortunately, the supply chains, you can order these vehicles, but the supply chain is 18 months to 24 months out minimum. So we do not expect to see these vehicles delivered for another 18 to 24 months. So why are we doing it now? Because if you don't order them now, it's going to probably be another 18 or 24 months from the next time you try to get to the point. So you can get your money, you can order it, and then you can wait 1.5 to 2 years before the vehicle is delivered. So we want to get ahead of this. We want to set this as an example to, especially as T-Splost is coming up and other replacements are going forward. We want to really accelerate this electric vehicle into the ACC fleet as part of that process. So we're asking on the agenda item for approximately $1 million. However, there is also an understanding that is included in this agenda item that if it's approved by the mayor and commission, it will encumber $1 million in Project 11. But when the vehicles come in and the mayor and commission fund the capital project for fleet, which they have said they intend to do, then of that million, when these vehicles arrive, approximately 61,000 will come from SPLOST 11. Approximately 515,000 will come from SPLOST 11. For the 61,000 is for chargers. 515,000 is for the vehicles differential between a gas vehicle and a fully electric vehicle, and approximately 433,000 will come from ACC capital funding. So the goal of the Project 11 is not to fully fund the electric vehicles, but rather pay the difference between a gas vehicle and a fully electric vehicle. So what you see that breakdown being 61,000, 515,000, those are SPLOST 11 to push that market to those electric vehicles. The 433 is the Athens-Clarke County capital funding that we anticipate being provided by mayor and commission 18 months to 2 years from now. So the total amount of those, the 61,000 would be $610 of art funding. $5,150 would come from SPLOST. Those two would be SPLOST 11 toward the full electric part. And of the 433,000 in capital funding, that would represent about 4,330. If you're real quick at math, you'll beat me to add totaling them up. That's about $10,100 total. So between the two projects, it's about $11,000, 900 on Memorial Park and about 10,100. So since these projects are categorized as equipment, and equipment is one of the limited listed exceptions in the ordinance, we are requesting that And so very specifically, so you have the project names. This is, we're asking that these two projects be excluded as Project 11, Subproject 2, Electric Vehicle Acceleration, project, and the other one's Project 11, Subproject 3, Memorial Park Solar, and that's because government can't do anything less than 15 words for a title. Beaten only by the University of Georgia, who has to have 2 pages just for the title. So we are requesting that support from the council for the public art component funding exclusion for these 2 projects at this point. Any questions?
So just for context, y'all, let's see, Project 11 in total has a $15.8 million budget. So we're
That's correct.
talking about a pretty tiny slice. So the remaining 1%, 1% of the full amount would have been 158,000 for public art. It doesn't seem like the total amount is being reduced that much. And again, since this is a non-capital carve out from this full 15.8 million, we can't really ask that the non-capital components have the 1% for public art.
I can say
So
that sub-project 1, which was the Costa building, we did contribute $2,500 to art because we felt like that was a great place to put art, was in the Costa building, which we also funded about $250,000 out of Project 11 for that. So we are supportive of that effort. So the formal request from us, from sustainability and from central services would be to exclude Project 11, Subproject 2, and Subproject 3 from art funding.
What does that look like? Do you need a vote or a letter as a response? Like, what is the response that you need from the community?
All I'll do is, if you vote to exclude, then I would include that in the agenda item that says that it was presented to this group and they voted to exclude it. That's great for us. If you want to follow that up with a letter, that's also great with us too. So we like to do whatever is easy for you guys.
cool. The vote sounds like the way to go, just so we can be efficient on our end.
Yep.
Oh, Madeline's making a note from the chat. Did you see that?
Yes. So we'll need to just call our names out instead of raising our hands. Easier.
Okay.
Okay, so a motion to approve to eliminate Project 11, Subproject 2, and Project 11, Subproject 3 from public art funding.
I second the move.
Great. Any questions before we vote?
Motion. Andrew?
Motion.
Okay.
Oh. All right. All in favor?
Aye. God.
Donna?
B.
Andrew?
Ezra.
Darcy.
Victoria.
Montu.
And I also vote yes. This is Madeline. Thanks for bearing with me, y'all.
Okay, that's a plurality.
Well, thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated. I look forward to working with you guys on art projects as we move forward with some of these others that are coming through that Project 11. It's going to offer a lot of exciting possibilities, and want to see how creative people can be around that topic of clean and renewable energy.
Great.
So thank you very
That's
much.
great.
We'll go
Thank
all in when the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like.
Oh, a few other items of business. Thanks for bearing with that late addition. And again, real quick, we traditionally don't have a meeting like this one in December. We usually opt for something social. For example, last year we went on a music history walking tour. We met downtown on this evening instead and had a guided tour by somebody who does that professionally. 2 years ago, we had a social with our sister organization, the Athens Area Arts Council, at the fire hall. So our plan this year would to not have a typical monthly business meeting in December, but to instead have something social. We can have a discussion offline, perhaps about what that might look like. But I did want to let everybody know, new members and those who might not remember from previous years, that this is what we normally do in December. So yeah, we can decide offline if we want a socially distanced in-person gathering, or something, some creative alternative.
Okay.
I would also like to make a nomination. We have an executive position coming up since Madeline is moving over to vice chair. We have an opening for secretary and note taker, and I nominate the person who knows Robert's Rules of Order the best, ostensibly, and that would be Donna. We've discussed this. She's not totally caught off guard and put on the spot. But I would like to nominate Donna for this position. I think she will serve admirably, and I anticipate a peaceful transfer of power.
Second, the motion. Is it a
Great.
motion? Is that a motion?
Yes, let's consider it one.
Okay, great. Go, Donna.
All right.
Second.
All in favor of putting Donna as our new secretary? I don't see any dissent.
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys. I'll try to do my best.
We know you will, Donna.
Go, Donna. You'll be better than I was.
Oh, gosh, nobody can be
Thank you,
better than
Donna.
you. No, that's not true. You were great.
So thank you for that, Donna. I really appreciate you stepping up here. One other thing to discuss, and this is we've talked about this for years without actually acting on it. And now we have a critical mass of works of public art that we've commissioned that have no context. So they don't have a marker with the artist names. Therefore, there's no attribution to Athens Cultural Affairs Commission, uh, nor ACC government. And so we need to rectify that. And it's a good time to spend a sum of money on something like this in advance of us approaching the mayor and commission next budgeting season for a larger ask. How much, you might ask? Well, we have 60 works of public art that have no markers. So this is a long-standing gap in our operations that left all of our bus shelters plus an additional 15 works without this attribution. What might the costs be? We're looking at a maximum of $300 per. So $300 times 60 is $18,000. Our capital budget could take care of this. We do have a good bit more than that in the capital budget that we get an additional 15,000 towards annually. So this would essentially be the what we spend our money on this year from the capital budget. In addition, and I would like this to get sorted out, we might also be on the hook for the installation expenses as well. Is that what you were about to say, Stephanie? I don't want to give up easily without exploring more options, but we might be on the hook for that. I'll let you add other commentary here, Stephanie.
I think what we're coming to is like looking at ways that we might explore signs that are like a simpler installation, and then some of them could be much easier, much cheaper, much readily. So I think we're kind of looking at maybe the signs will be cheaper and the installation will be simpler and the cost will all sort of lay out. So we just need to do it. I didn't know all the parts until just the other day. So let us look at that. And there's another way the commission could prioritize and say we definitely want to do like all the bus shelters, or we want to do everything but the bus shelters. So we can also work on like where we start with this and sort of move through it. Some might have different signs, like all the bus shelters might have the same size and same material. So we're looking at it. Some might have to be different for each one. I'm not sure yet. We haven't done a lot of signage, so I don't know. But yeah, I think the idea was that the part of the allocation of your funds is going to these artworks and the signage that go with them, and that being applied to them. So we gotta have to look at that.
Time is of essence. It is important to spend these funds in the coming months before budgeting season. So I would like us to make a motion to authorize our county liaisons, our ACC liaisons to go ahead, do their due diligence, but go ahead and make the commitment that we fund these 60 works so that they can be contextualized, so that our artists can be fully credited for their contributions. And again, this is going back 7-ish years. It's been a minute.
I think the last time y'all put a sign on something, it was the evidence locker.
So that was one of our first 3 commissions going back to, I don't know, 2012 or 13.
Yeah.
I so move that we allocate or make a commitment to attribute these 60 artworks around the city using our capital budget, and you guys can figure out whether we have to pony up for the installations according to your due process.
I second that wholeheartedly.
Great. All in favor, please say aye. And
Aye.
yes, keep
Could
our
I
hands raised.
just add something else?
Of course.
Could
Sure.
we set maybe a limit per piece?
That's
Instead
a
of
good idea. Why don't we set the limit at 300?
Okay. That gives me some boundaries to work in, and if we'll come back. We'll work on this and come back. We also have to
Okay.
see some availability. Should we have to go to like a contractor? We got to see who's available around and what that timeline looks like. So we may come back with ask to meet with some of you or a selection of you to sort of prioritize, because we may have to do them in groups and bundles, and depending on when we get the signs made and when we have availability for the installations of them. So that should work though. Thank you.
Stephanie, will you also get the install, like the estimates for install?
That's what I plan to, yeah.
Okay.
To do the signs, and then what it'll cost to install them, because it's probably going to be, those are all going to be like, it's this much to install these kind, because they go in the cement, and this just, you know, snaps on, or this is implanted in the ground, and those kind of things. So we got to look at a few of those options.
I guess I am curious if like what's the size are we talking about here? Like, are we thinking like, I mean, like something like, you know, 6 by 8 or something? What are we thinking? Like,
We have some signs that we have some sort of formatted signs that we use for our like on our trails and around some of our structures. So we're kind of basing them off of those a little bit because we know what those cost. We already have we have some shops already set up with that have the procurement process already established. So it's a kind of a menu, and we just sort of say, okay, well, we can do all 60 of or all 40 of the bus stop signs at this size and like this, and this is how they'll be installed, and then kind of see with the rest of them. Because some of them, the way we attribute art, depends on where it's situated. So we try to, and we have some, on call. Thank you, Diana. So we just kind of look at them and try to make the signs as easy to read for most people. And we have, so that the text is large enough for most people to see. How about that? So all of them will be bigger, I think, than an index card, but not as big as like a tombstone. Not that.
well, tombstone. Okay.
I
And then the other question I had was, is there a way that we can, in the future, like as pieces get completed, like have written in to our, I don't know if that's like a bylaw thing or something, where we basically have to allocate a budget and we have to do that every time, like there's no question about it? Or is that an avenue to go to?
I don't know what the avenue would look like, but I'm fully in favor of adding this to our process without adding this to the artist's own budget, that this be a cost that we assume in perpetuity. There are enough things, insurance requirements, engineering stamps that come out of the artist's budget that this doesn't need to be one of them.
Agreed.
The latest one, the heron sighting, did include this information on the piece of art.
That was the artist's idea. She asked, and we were like, sure, that sounds cool. So she built that in herself. That was nice.
Yeah.
It should have the SPLOS number and the year, all of that it should have all that information in there. The artist name, the title of the work, and the SPLOS, like the origin of the funding.
Well, why don't we go ahead and appoint 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3, whether that's members or ex officio, I'm indifferent, to be on call, to represent the full group when it comes to making these decisions with Stephanie and Tatiana. So show of hands. Who would? Yep, I see Ezra, I see Mickey, and I see Darcy. Montu, is that a hand or a gesture? Okay, all right. You're on enough things. So yes, Mickey, Ezra, Darcy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope you can hear me. So the motion to move forward to create artwork signs at a max of 300 per sign from the capital budget from B and seconded by Esra. Are we holding that vote? Did that vote pass?
It did. We had a plurality.
Thanks. Yeah. If I don't get verbal confirmation.
Right.
Sorry, y'all, my internet.
Cool. Why don't we go back to something I should have done at the beginning? Look at it last month's minutes. Does anybody have any additions, changes, corrections? Can I get a motion to approve our minutes from October?
So moved.
Great, thank you, Helen.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great.
Hi, Donna.
B.
Yep. That's a clear plurality. Doesn't I don't think we need everybody's vote registered in the minutes. Thank you. That is all of my business. Darcy and I are meeting soon to start a project that is again overdue to look at artists' budgets for the most recent years to better quantify the extent to which insurance requirements, engineering reviews, and the like really chip away at the public art budget. So looking at which, basically, we want to make the case for putting ACAC in a position to offset those expenses uh, because there have been a lot of costs creeping in, and those costs have only gone up. So I'd like to quantify it to see if there's a better way to provide insurance requirements, for example, because the way those are done right now are pretty um, artist unfriendly. And, for example, the county right now might require that an artist carry 12 months of insurance for an artist for a project that only needs a couple days of installation. When they're doing almost all the fabrication in their studio, so we're the asks that are being made might there might be a better way, but we have to quantify it first. So we'll be reporting back with those results early in 2022.
Speaking of insurance, I saw the other day there was an accident at the Whitehall roundabout. So what's the process? Like if somebody like ran into the artwork or somebody got hurt, or like who's held responsible? And like, does that come from our budget if it has to be repaired?
No. At that point, the Cultural Affairs has already shepherded the funds to purchase the work. And at that point, once we complete the paperwork, and correct me if I'm wrong, Diana, but once we correct and finalize all the paperwork, then it moves into the ownership of ACC. And therefore that, so let's say somebody, they didn't crash into it, but they got very close. That's true.
Yeah, they were real close.
Didn't hit it.
We have had this. So then our risk and safety at ACC, they file an insurance claim, and then we manage the insurance, and it does not affect ACAC. And we have on file the artist contact information. That's why we try to keep up with the artist contact information. So should we need the artist to come back and and repair it because they painted it just so, and that kind of thing. But we try to do our best to bring it back to the way it was prior to the accident, and we use insurance funds for that. So we haven't had to, knock on wood, haven't had to run that play on my watch, certainly, but we have insurance for it. And once y'all have finished with your part of it and it goes completed, ACC owns it, and we take care of it from that point forward.
That is correct. We get a O&M manual from them as part of their closeout documentation that tells us how and what we need to do if repairs need to be made to it. And that, by the way, the anchor bolts for that under the PE stamp were made so they could shear if it gets hit by a certain type of vehicle going at a certain rate and kind of stuff. So it's designed to break away. Okay, so hopefully that limits the damage to it also. I don't know, Stephanie I talked to Tatiana about possibly maybe talking to Public Works about maybe installing like some rumble strips or something to kind of get people's attention. Hey, you're coming up to something that's different, So I don't know. It was in daylight, guys, too. Andrew's buddy went out and took some video of it. Or was it
Right.
you, Andrew, that took the video?
Yeah, a coworker of mine.
Yeah.
I can
Anyway.
suggest that to traffic and TPW, but I mean, I'm just making suggestions like a citizen really at that point. But yeah, you're right, rumble strips. And those roundabouts are, some people just, have never seen a roundabout before, I guess, until they get in one and they're like, what
But there would have been a stop sign.
Yeah.
But they hit their brakes right before the art. We can argue until we have more evidence that the public art was a safety feature. I don't have any evidence to suggest otherwise, so I'm going to roll with that. For all we know, they could have kept going.
Mhm.
Okay, well, Tatiana's not here, so the project report will be super brief, super high level, unless somebody has other input that they would like to contribute. So Clayton, it's nearing
I
fabrication.
think Diana was gonna give us a
Oh,
rundown. Is that true, Diana?
great.
He's revising his fabrication drawings, his
Okay.
50% fabrication drawings. He's actually doing a mock-up. He hopes to have those drawings to me, I think, this month, and maybe he is doing a full-scale mock-up of one of the pieces. I think that's supposed to also be done this month. So he knows he's behind on that one. Let's see, the Greenway 2, we've been going back and forth with GDOT on location of art and getting permission from them. Firefly 2, they're getting ready to schedule another meeting with a user group to get kind of a buy-off on some of the locations and type of art. There's a meeting December 1st. I think Andrew, maybe you and Tatiana are going to that with the arena user group to begin to talk to them about art and locations. The Costa group, they just had that user group meeting. So I think that they're still working on some of that, but that was, I guess, a meeting that they started to get those creative juices going. The Hawthorne intersection one, the user group has been developed and they're waiting to hear from ACAC to schedule a meeting. From what I understand, Whitehall, Tatiana was going to reach out to Wayne Mead about the near miss, Stephanie. So let's wait and see about that. Wayne Mead is the new operations guy.
Okay.
Rainbow Forest, we are still waiting from Andrew Kovacs to submit his final report and his final invoice. He's yet to do that. But he did send a letter of support for the grant. So that was awesome. Dudley, we had our dedication, which was awesome. And she did submit her final report. We received it, approved it, and I approved her final payment. Origins, I don't know if anybody's seen, have
Also,
you guys seen the weather vane installation?
They all
Yeah.
got pictures this morning of the giant chicken.
Oh, okay, awesome, because I was going to share one, but I won't do that. But yeah, it looks really, really great. And dedication date has been tentatively made for January 8th. It's a Saturday. So put that on your dance card.
Monday, we hope there would be some. It's nice to have it on a Saturday because we think more of y'all can come, and maybe people with kids and families, like the 3 local artists. So we're really hoping a Saturday will be. I know it's going to be cold out, but it will do in the daytime. So we hope for a good turnout for that one.
Did you have a time set for that yet?
I don't know if we've settled on a time yet.
I have not heard of time yet.
Okay.
But yeah, did I miss anything?
We were
Fire
gonna-
station,
Yeah.
fire station, the fire hall thing. The chief has not still gotten back with Tatiana for a dedication date for that one. They weren't really doing any dedications because they're trying to keep everybody healthy and safe.
The only other thing we had was the poet laureate. We have a event with the poet laureate coming up, but that's an upcoming events. The pianos was also on the agenda under projects. I
Right.
could speak to that because Tatiana and I went out to visit our pianos. We have 2 outside still. Remember the pianos? So we went to visit the one at Bishop Park, and it is beyond. It's like 20, only maybe 10 or 11 of the keys make a noise at all. Most of the black keys are completely gone. It's in really bad shape. It's actually aesthetically, like, the exterior is in very good shape, but the piano itself, the keys are completely toast. So we'll likely have that one removed, and we've offered to see if the artist wants like the bench or anything from it before we remove it. But the one of the library, most of the keys work. The exterior needs a little shaping. And needs a little touch up because it's kind of been in the weather a bit, and it does get a lot of, like, people sit on the bench all the time. It's outside the library. So Tatiana reached out to the artist, who agreed to touch up the painting on the exterior, and then we can also have the piano tuned. So we can have it touched up and tuned for about $300. And then the piano, which people really, that's the one I think gets the most action, is the piano one. So we would, I guess, ask that y'all would want to spend $300 to extend the life of the piano at the library. The other 2 are, I think, internal sites, I think those have kind of moved more into their ownership, but we still need to kind of keep up with the ones that are outside because they're still connected to us. So
the Council on Aging piano did move inside.
I don't know, actually. We didn't look at that one. I don't know why. We just looked at Bishop and the public library.
Okay.
I don't know, but we'll have to see. I thought the Council on Aging one was always inside. I didn't know it was outside.
It's not. It's right up next to, across the street from where our public housing project is
Housing,
going to
right.
be.
I'll
The
go
Bethel
look at it
site.
then. That's probably work. Okay, I'll go have a look.
Hoyt and Hole.
Hoyt and Hull. Okay, I'll go have a look at that one, and I will update y'all.
Okay, but yeah, $300 is money well spent to extend the life of the public library piano. They really enjoy it. They're posting it on their social media every other month at least. It's getting a lot of love still. And I would like to remind everybody, those pianos were $750 each to get painted, get on site. It was really cost effective. And I think $300 to extend the life of the one that's proving to be the most beloved is money well spent on our end.
Hey, Stephanie, when you say the Bishop one will be removed, where does it go when it's removed? Is it destroyed, or can the artist keep it?
I don't know. I haven't even figured out how to move it yet. I mean, I don't even know how to get it out of there. I don't know how to before. I haven't figured it out. I'm still figuring it out. That's why I was just gonna leave it at removed.
Remove ... is what I heard.
To be honest, like we offered the bench, I think, to her, but the rest of the piano is I mean, like I don't know what you would do with it. So it's not playable at all. And yeah. So I'm not
You
sure.
couldn't make a piece of art out of it?
I mean, I think it's ripe for performance art, that's for sure. But
Someone could make it a free little pantry of some sort,
I mean,
something like that.
there's things to be said for repurposing it. I'm wide open to ideas. It's still sitting. If you want to go visit it, it's right there on the covered tennis courts where they have the farmers market. So you tell me. I just at this point it feels like it's just sort of derelict and sitting there. I don't want it to be an eyesore. I don't want it to be a poor reflection on us, and we're not taking care of things. And that is also, it's part of a place that gets a lot of use for every Saturday for the market, and then also there's a lot of rollerblading and roller skating going on in there, and pickleballing, and just what have you, general recreation. So yeah, if we can relocate it and people have fun ideas, I'm open. But
yeah, same as Serena. I got a report as recent as 2 months ago that it sounded good. So whatever happened to it, it happened pretty recently.
I
So
mean,
it's not like it's been a long-standing eyesore. If it's an eyesore, it at least is.
I took photos, but I won't trouble you guys with it. I literally touched every single key.
I believe you.
They just don't. Yeah, I don't know.
If you got skated on, who knows? But yes.
It probably is the cold weather, honestly, but if it's been that recent, because I go to the farmers market every week, and yeah, Diane, I meant something like you could turn it into a little free library if it really is unplayable. There's, a shell you can do cool things with.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can just come up with some cool ideas
There is an Atlanta group that does nothing but art pianos that we might consider reaching out to and see how they deaccession or repurpose.
Yeah, this one, like I said, the exterior looks really good. Unlike the one at the library, it's like they were the opposite of each other. Like one looked good but didn't play at all. The other one didn't look so great, but actually was completely playable for the most part. It just needs to be tuned up. So yeah, so y'all, think it over, work on it. Let me know. It'd be nice to have it sort of something done with it before spring. How about that? It's considered.
May I make a motion that we ask Stephanie to pursue repairs and tuning on the library piano for $300?
Yes.
Thank you.
Who wants to second that emotion?
I second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Any opposed? Sorry, I forgot to do that previously. Just assume we have consensus all the time, and that's my mistake.
Does anybody happen to have a contact already with that group in Atlanta? If not, there are ways we could reach out, but just wanted to crowdsource right now. Not yet? Okay, that's okay.
The last item of business, how about just an update for the Arts and Community Awards? What's the latest?
Yeah, I can give an update there. And then we do have a couple of updates for, I mean, last month this fell under outreach. We finally had our meeting, so I can give a little update there too. But so yeah, so this kind of just fell into an email chain for a couple weeks, but we have now what I think is our ready to go draft, just based on everything we talked about at the last meeting. So that should be ready for like Tatiana to, proofread, change that. We just need to kind of do, little tweaks for the call, like put in the correct dates, but everything else should be good to go. The members of that subcommittee, if you have any last changes, let's try to get those in honestly tonight or tomorrow so that Tatiana can get to work on it and send that to PIO. I think it's I don't know how long that process takes, maybe 2 weeks to get it uploaded onto the website. It's not too much content or anything, but I'm hoping we can have it up by the end of the month, if not sooner. And then typically we would have that call open for about a month to receive proposals. So that was our thought process there. Any questions about that? Nope, no questions. Okay.
I like I think it's important to get it out this calendar year. Beyond that, I'm indifferent about timing, but we did promise. I feel like we're obligated to the mayor and commission to have both a fall and a spring cycle of Arts and Community Awards, as we proposed when they in the budgeting cycle when the part-time position was approved. That was our pledge to keep our annual operating budget the same. So I do feel like we are bound that we should meet that at least a soft commitment to have two distinct cycles in two distinct seasons.
So you mean like in this fiscal year? So
This
fall right
calendar year.
now? Yeah.
This
Oh, this
calendar
calendar year. Okay. So the round of 50 that we did, that counts for that, I guess.
No, but just by having the current cycle live November or December would be good enough, I think, to meet that commitment.
Okay. So did we do a spring round this year after the 50?
We did not, but we'll do a spring one this fiscal year, this upcoming spring.
Okay. Sorry. I think we're saying the same thing. Okay. I'm caught up. Thank you. That sounds good. We don't have last we had sorry, I'm in a shared space right now. Last we had talked about, I think we were leaving it as sort of a provisional, just depending on the budget, because I think for this spring, but if we know that we need to kind of commit to that, then that's good. But we don't have a ton, as we talked about, we don't have a ton left in our the operating budget for the rest of the year, since Rainbow Forest had so many expenses with the labor. So we just need to keep that in mind. If we do have to commit to that for the spring, let's just plan to carve that out. Because I think last we had talked about it was, let's definitely commit to 2 awards in the fall and see about the spring. So that would just be a good update to, to keep in mind.
Okay, so right now we have 4,000 earmarked for this calendar year and 4,000 for next calendar year.
And we have a balance of $13,050 for that full account. So our operating budget, we didn't spend. We haven't spent hardly any money since Rainbow Forest these past 3 months. So we're in good standing.
Cool, that'll be good. And then the website would also come out of that, right? I think Deanie made a comment about the website. I've been kicked off so many times in this meeting, I can't view the comment, so I don't know what it was, but the website would come out of operating is what we've said, right?
Yes, that's our only option.
Right, okay, cool. So that would be the only other.
Dee Dee's comment was, can the website play a role in the attribution of artists? And absolutely, it should.
Oh, gotcha.
What's aspirational is if our next website could have a map and you click on each item and each item has an image, it has some metadata that includes the full attribution. So I don't know how that works. Good thing we have an outreach team that can handle all of that.
We're working on that within the unified government. We're working on like sort of mapping everything across the county, and there will also be that where you can see the artist and the art. Like you can pick from point A to point B, and that's all. Santiago has been working with those divisions and those people outside of the arts division, and she's ready to go with all the information. So we're working on that. We're coming at signing from a lot of different ways, and when we get here, it'll be like no denying who made this art and when it was funded. Trust me. But we still have to make some steps to get there.
That's great. Like our plaques for attribution, this is a thing that we were talking about since before I joined the commission 4 years ago.
The county's catching up. We're getting like everything.
Hopefully with the new website and the county-wide efforts to map everything, this can come together within the next, year.
Donna, are you saying something? Or you're muted?
Well,
I hear you now.
Might be another good place for QR codes that could link back to the website. We were talking about that at the last dedication. Just a thought.
Can I add something or ask a question about the AICA awards, the resiliency, the 50? We're going to talk about that, or can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So remember way back when we got that fund, those $100,000 funds, and we gave 50, or I think we ended up 49 awards for $2,000 each. And because it was such a large number, we sort of divided it up. I know some of you were here with that and some of you weren't here with that. We kind of divided up the list a little bit and sort of to connect with those recipients so that we might help them connect to things, especially during the pandemic. It was really hard to like find people and find resources and figure out how to actually meet the baselines of the award. And we also asked for those people to sort of keep an eye out for the media that goes with it and keep up with the artists, because in order for them, what we'd really like to do, what I'm asking you now very awkwardly, is if you have images or you are still in contact with those artists or you remember who your designated person was, maybe conjure those emails up, because I really want us to be able to put together almost like an annual report that shows as much as we can where that $100,000 went to our community. And sometimes that just might be like, oh, I went to see this and I remember I took pictures on my phone, or maybe the artist personally, or you remember this person. So see if they have completed their report, and more than that, even just like some photographs so we can have a document of what that money went to and how amazing those projects were. Because I've been to many of them, and like I just feel so proud of the work that people made under these circumstances, and just it's really incredible. So I just ask y'all, maybe kind of like, if you like, did anyone go to the Peepa show like I did and took a bunch of pictures and thought it was so cool? 3 whole nights for free, this amazing like performance and puppet show. So I'm sure there were other events that have transpired. So if you can remember to pull those images or contact those artists if you remember them or know them, so that we can start to gather that. And Tatiana will be a person who can collect them all, and we will work on putting together a report so that we can always remember it, because we want to prove that, we want to show how beneficial that was to our community and encourage our elected officials to continue to invest in the artist community in ways just like that. And we can really show the receipts, if you will, for what we did, the metaphorical receipts.
Precisely it. It is important to show what we did with the funds, since the timing of that show and tell will be around the time when we're asking for even more investment in public art to make even more art happen. Maybe not 50 at a time ever again, but more than we're presently able to. So thanks. And I guess what that means for new members. So Esra, Mickey, Victoria, and Serena, don't worry about it. Those teams, all that work was in motion before you guys joined, so don't feel obligated. If you'd like to be involved, feel free to reach out, but don't feel obligated. It's on the rest of us to revisit that list of the 6 or 7 that we were each watching over to ensure that those artists have
It's
fulfilled
all still in the
obligations.
Google Drive, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was going to suggest if we have those photos, maybe we should just upload them into those respective folders so then Tatiana knows where to find them and it
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
clog up
perfect.
her email.
Great.
Let's do that.
That's a much better practice.
Will
If
do.
we could do away with all email work, I think the world would be a better place, but maybe we're not there yet. So
For real.
Not quite yet.
maybe for now.
This is a great baby step.
Well, I can give an update on the outreach team if now's a good time, since this is related. Sure. So we finally had our first meeting yesterday. Very exciting. So in my time on ACAC, for almost 2 years, I'm pretty sure we've had one outreach team meeting, and that was right when Patrice was leaving, and it was basically a report out of all of her amazing ideas for what we could do as outreach, but that was it. That was the only one we had in, I think, August or something. So this is basically, we're starting pretty much from scratch. We went back through, or I went back through this morning and looked and found a little bit of old information on what outreach had been as recently as 2019 is kind of the most recent information I had. So we have some, what we were talking about, the outreach team currently is myself, Helen, Serena, and Montu is on that as well, but he wasn't able to join the meeting. So now that we have a regular meeting date set, we will all get together and it'll be great. But what we talked about was really just rethinking, okay, well, let's think about what outreach had done in the past, and Helen helped us out with that since I had really no idea, seeing as we hadn't had outreach in almost 2 years. So we were thinking, okay, what was outreach before and what can outreach be moving forward? In light of having a full-time public art coordinator who is actually doing a lot of the things outreach had been doing, such as, or in collaboration with SPLOST, doing a lot of the things such as ribbon cuttings, writing a press release, inviting people, managing social media, managing contact lists, and so on. So what we focused our conversation around was different kinds of engagement opportunities with the public. We have not, in the last year and a half, there have not been a ton of in-person events. So the few, maybe 1 or 2 tabling opportunities I can think of, they were pretty, pretty sporadic, not something that was a regular thing. And we would really like to commit to very regular tabling type of events, whether that's at maybe an Athens Farmers Market or some other kind of event that is regular, that we could kind of plug into anytime, or maybe at some of the upcoming holiday markets. We have a lot of ideas on that, but we engaging through public tabling events is one easy low-hanging fruit we talked about. We also talked about the idea of engaging with school or youth programs in ways that, just ideating, not committing to anything yet. And then another big part of it is improving access to information by leading this website redesign project. So we're going to talk about that in December. Right, Helen? We're going to come up with a rough draft of a sort of project plan by December. So what we wanted to share with you today is we have 2 ideas for tabling opportunities coming up that would, we wanted to just run by you. And so some of the other things that are on our radar are like the artist symposium. I think that is in the events coming up, right? That's listed in the events. So something like that would be great if you'll have us at that event, at the event at the Linden House. But there are 2, let me see my notes. So one that should be pretty easy to execute would be tabling at the Athens Farmers Market special holiday market. It's mostly focused on artists anyway. It's really an artist market. So we think that would be just a good one to do. That would be at the end of this month on Saturday, the 27th. And then the other one we were thinking about, so we were trying to come up with an idea for like one by the end of this month and one by the end of December. And we were thinking maybe the Parade of Lights, if there's an opportunity where a lot of people would sort of be paused or walking by. So we just wanted to throw that out there to see if anybody had any thoughts, especially on the Parade of Lights, which is, it's not really something where other people are tabling. Or if you had another suggestion before the end of the year, we would love to get 2 in before the end of the year. Yeah, it's okay. And if no suggestions right now, you can just share in the just share in our thread in an email. And then we can share more about this offline, but we too had the idea before we saw the note about the holiday party about doing something maybe after our next outreach meeting. Aside from being a holiday party, we just think it'd be a nice opportunity to get people together. So I have a venue and suggested date, so I can share that offline in our chat. We'd love to combine our powers and get people together in a safe way if we can. And then the last little point from our outreach meeting was that we, following the strategy team's lead, will be reading the public art master plan in thirds, starting with the first section that we'll read by December. And we're going to specifically try to bring back points from that plan that we think outreach, points where outreach can make an impact. So there we go. Outreach recap. First one in a long
Thanks for that.
time. All right.
Outreach hasn't had that amount of energy in a while. Thank you.
Great.
We didn't have outreach during the pandemic. Imagine that. Cool. And the strategy team, we met last week. It's a standing monthly thing to finish reading the public art master plan as a group. And we will meet again in December with special guest Marilyn Wolfer-Gotts to answer some of our questions about historic approaches to things and some context that those of us who haven't been around since the beginning don't fully understand. Okay, so let's bring our attention to upcoming events. There's quite a few. Two with the poet laureate. So we're fortunate to have a pretty engaged poet laureate, inaugural poet laureate who's taking the public outreach component of that quite seriously, with events in November and December, with a December 4th reading at the Linden House in conjunction with their annual holiday market. Our Origins, the Giant Chicken dedication, which we've already talked about, on January 8th to start the year. And then Linden House will again be having its art summit at the Linden House at the end of January. Nope, Stephanie, you're muted if you're talking.
It's the arts division, and it is hosted at the Linden House. But I just want, the last time we did the art summit, we did focus more on visual arts, but this time we are going to focus on public art, and then as well as performing, film, visual, everything. So, and how those can all collaborate and intersect. So just wanted to put that out there. We're working on it right now.
Fantastic. And we can close by sharing any arts happenings from our respective orbits. Dee.
November 18th, which is coming right up, we are opening 3 new exhibits at the Arts Center: Figure Ground, Follow Like Friend, and Self-Curation. Also that evening at 7 p.m. on the lawn, we are hosting Lupita's Revenge, which is a shadow puppet play with live music. I want to say there's like 1 ticket left, so please go onto the website. It's in Eventbrite. It's free, but reservations are required, and bundle up because it's likely to be cold. In addition, we got the holidays then coming up, and then December. Saturdays, for the first 3 Saturdays of December, we have an artist market. And that first Saturday, I'm delighted to have Jeff Ballas in the house, in the community room for a reading. And that's a good time for you all to have a table. Please do that as well. We have holiday workshops for adults and for youth on each of those Saturdays as well, and the third Thursday as well. So that's kind of our wrapping up for this year. Thanks.
There's open studios at the Jog on Saturday from 2 to 9. A bunch of all the graduate students will be opening their studios, so you guys can walk through and check them out if you want. I'll be in mine, and then there's going to be like a little gathering at the Thomas Street afterwards.
So 2 to 9 this Saturday?
2 to 9 this Saturday, yeah.
Camelot opens at the Morton Theater. It's the Athens Creative Theater, our first production in over 18 months. It opens Thursday night, and it's a smaller numbers of people. It's wearing masks inside. It's 180 tickets, but I think there's still some tickets. I think Sunday might be sold out, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday should still have some. We'll have our Athens Musical Theater Orchestra playing live for the performance of Camelot at Morton Theater, opening this Thursday.
And I think it will be published soon. Diddy would probably know, but we are about to be in the season of all of our holiday markets, which is awesome. And probably a lot more will be happening this year than last year. So I've seen a lot online about how the what's it called, supply chain shortages and shipping and all that is going to cause a lot of delays for a lot of normal kind of gifts that we would buy for each other. So let's be sure to support our public artists or local artists by going to those markets. And the Linden House typically prints out a map with dates and locations of all of the, at least the artist focused holiday markets around town. So that's an awesome resource you can look to. Yeah, exciting.
Great. Anyone else? Okay, so we'll start an email thread and come up with some ideas on what we want to do in December. So the good news is we won't be doing this in December. It'll be anything but that. Great. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.